You're watching the VSO Gun Channel. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to check those subscription notification settings. I thank you very much. Normally on this channel we talk about things that break stuff, do damage, and just generally poke holes in things, right? Well, today I want to do the exact opposite and talk about fixing stuff and healing people. Specifically because you guys have seen it, the world's kind of a mess right now, and when we saw the conflict in the Big U kick off, there was a huge buying craze that touched everybody worldwide. I mean, we're talking shortages across the board, particularly in the categories of body armor and medical equipment. So what I wanted to do today was spend a little bit of time talking about what a quality trauma kit looks like. And this is the Advanced Trauma Kit, and it's available on both Ace Tac Gear and Everlit Survival. If you look down below, you will find a discount code for both of those places. I've worked that out for you guys so you can save a little bit on these things if you're interested in going after medical equipment. Now, the reason that I have picked this one is because this is kind of a shut up and take my money type situation. You throw money at the problem, you take it and you launch it into your truck or whatever it is that you use for transportation on a regular basis. You could also throw this under the sink in your house or something like that, and you've got everything that you need. And you might say, well, hey Kurt, you know, I don't know how to use any of this stuff. That's all right. Buy it anyway. Hopefully, if you are seriously injured, somebody might show up that actually does know how to use this stuff, and in which case they have that many more tools to fix you. So first and foremost, we're going to take a look at the exterior here and kind of talk about what's going on as far as the bag itself is concerned. So right here on the front, we have those laser cut panels for expansion. If you're looking to add anything else to it, a lot of people will like to take their medical shears and throw it right there on the front, and I agree with that. My plate carrier, for instance, has the medical shears right there in a pistol pouch on the front. There is a compression strap right here that allows you to cinch this down. This whole thing will rip off, right? And that's the concept there, is that if this was mounted onto some kind of load-bearing equipment or a larger bag or whatever, that this whole thing could rip off and it would be easily accessible. Red in the appropriate locations to designate medical, and of course Velcro up here for labels and things like that. I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera around here and give you a top-down view so that we can take a look at what is contained inside this thing. Some of the trauma kits will have these Velcro pieces or elastic pieces that run from here to here. If this had that, I would cut them because I want this thing to be able to fold out flat so I can see everything that's going on. All right, so first things first, when you look at it top down, lots of organizational stuff going on here. That's really important for your medical kits, at least in my estimation. You want to have things separated out so you can find them rapidly. First things first, we'll go ahead and tear this out. This is what I'm going to say is the expansion space for your bumps and bruises kit. If we look inside here, we have some triangle bandage, excuse me, and a dressing, but there's plenty of space in there for some of your extra stuff, and that would be a really good place to locate maybe some Band-Aids, because then you wouldn't have to disturb the rest of the organization to be able to rip that out and be like, all right, you need an ibuprofen, you need a Benadryl, you need a whatever it is, you need a Band-Aid because you cut yourself, you need some Neosporin or whatever. Then smashing that sort of stuff into this little pack here, you can see there's plenty of extra space in there for that sort of thing. That's what I would suggest if you want to do an expansion on this thing. That's how you do it right there. So we'll go ahead and set that aside so that it doesn't get all mixed up. And right off the bat, what I see, having removed that, are the most important pieces of equipment in the entire thing. First and foremost, right there, a legit North American Rescue Generation 7 cat tourniquet. This is the real deal. This is not a Chinese knockoff or anything like that. This is the real deal. And I know that because I have sold these before. So yes, this is a real deal, and I'm going to tell you right off the bat, if you're looking at the price point of this kit, that the cost on these is like 30 bucks, right? So that is the dealer wholesale on a Generation 7 cat tourniquet. So you got some decent value already just looking at everything else that is in the kit. These things are not cheap, and you want to make sure that they are the legitimate ones. That said, if I were you, then I would take this out and stage this for a leg, because sometimes I find them to be a little bit small when you break them out of the package. That's a crapshoot whether you want to take them out of the sealed packaging or not to stage them. Personal preference, my personal preference is to stage this for a leg. That said, we have a set of medical shears here, and those are pretty self-explanatory on why you want a dedicated set of medical shears. This is actually the only thing that I see thus far that I'm going to critique. We'll come back to that here in just a little bit. You guys know that I like to critique things at the very end to offer balance. As we get in here, we have a nasal pharyngeal airway. There is a video on Sean Heron's stuff over at We Like Shooting where he actually installs one of these NPAs into my nose. If you want to go see me cry, then that's a good thing. Not suggested unless you are into masochism, but when you need it, you need it. So good on them for including that, and of course a marker here for doing any labeling. If we continue on, we have jelly lubricant, part of that NPA, okay? If you think that you can take it without lube, you are wrong, especially if you're like me and have a deviated septum. So I went ahead and did some spatial reorganization over here. That's going to be a continuous theme here because there's a lot of stuff packed in here and we have only got so much table space. We're going to continue to dig a little bit deeper over on this side, and what we see when we pop out is an emergency thermal blanket. In case you take a dip in the drink or if you just get cold, prevention of hypothermia. I have been in the unfortunate situation of having to have used one of these before. Now, in that particular situation, I was in a relatively controlled environment where I probably would have survived without it. However, I will say that they absolutely do work, and if you are in a situation where you are losing body heat fast, this is what you want. So, important. Chest seals. These come in a 2-pack because sometimes when chest seals are needed, sometimes you got holes in both sides. So there are 2 of these in here. They are the 6x6 variant, and these things I can say that I am in a very good situation having to have never used one of these, but there are plenty of training courses out there for you if you want to learn how to use these. But I would say that this is one of those emergency pieces of equipment. When you need it, and nothing else will do. So high quality chest seals from Everlit Survival. And what we have is, I believe, the splint. Yes, so this is that folding splint, and what's really nice about this is super lightweight. I will actually take this back and get a weight on this. This might even weigh on my powder scale because this does not weigh very much. And what's nice about this is you can take this and even throw this in your hiking pack because there is nothing to this, but this is exactly the tool that you need if you've got a major problem for a broken bone, particularly if you're talking about a broken femur, or the one that is most often broken for lower leg injuries is the fibula. So I don't see anything else in this side, so we'll go ahead and flip this around so it's a little bit more accessible for me and a little bit closer of a line to the camera lens for you guys. Some of this stuff is very self-explanatory, but if you don't know what it is, you can always Google it and know that it's in here for a reason, and hopefully the person who comes upon you knows what it's for. Compressed gauze, pretty self-explanatory again. Same thing with the tape. Now, this is another item that I will critique. We'll go ahead and put it over here in the, we'll start a critique pile. What we have here are some alcohol pads. Now, I'm torn on whether these need to be in their own separate pouch over here, or whether you should put those in this pack over here. You could convince me either way. We'll go ahead and say that this one doesn't need to go into the critique pile, but that's a lot of sterile alcohol pads. You probably do 2 medical kits with that number of sterile alcohol pads, but when you need them, you need them. So, and you're going to drop a whole bunch of them. You're not going to be able to tear all of them open. You're going to screw them up because you're going to have your heart rate high and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, whatever. You could probably take them out of the bag, maybe even. Our next 2 items are kind of like similar, and that is the elastic bandage and the compression bandage. Think of this as the big brother to this, right? So this is for minor holding stuff together slash, you know, putting pressure on it, and then when you really got to put some compression on whatever injury it is, that's what this thing is for. And then if we go down into this pouch here, we have some stuff. Examination gloves. So let's see. How many do we got here? All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 examination gloves, and these are, they're large. I'm going to put these in the critique pile right here for continuous improvement for for Ace Tac slash Everlit. So we'll talk about these 3 items here in a minute. What we have here is an abdominal pad. This is like you got a cut on your abdomen and you put this over top of it to kind of shield the primary dressing. This is like a secondary dressing. Okay, cool. And then this is going to be like your bumps and bruises stuff. So adhesive bandages, looks like more alcohol pads, maybe. Adhesive bandages, some butterfly strips, more adhesive dressing wounds for larger cuts. And here is sterile gauze swab, and this is antiseptic wipe. Now let's go over and talk about my critique items, right? Now, the first one, and all of these are kind of not super serial. I would like to see these be nitrile gloves, just because nitrile gloves are a little bit more rugged, and they keep a little bit longer. I don't know what these are made out of, but they are not the butyl nitriles, and I want to say that without actually knowing that they feel latex, and you know, that's a personal preference thing. Some people are allergic to latex, whatever. I would prefer a butyl nitrile glove, but gloves are better than nothing. And if you use this kit more than once, you're going to need to restock those gloves anyway. The next item that I would say is this tape. I see that it is in the original packaging, and that keeps it clean and all that sort of stuff, but if I were you, what I would do is I would take one set of those gloves out of the bag, put them on, take this out of the package and wind it around a credit card or something like that, just to keep it compact. It gives you more space to put other stuffs in the kit. So there's that. And then the last critique that I have are these medical shears, and that is because the handle is black. I want this handle to be like brightly colored. Mine are green, and I find that that works fine. There's some other black stuff in here, and depending on what you're doing, if you're doing tactical stuff, if you're using this on a range or something like that, there might be some other black things that are laying around, and these tend to blend into things, particularly if they get shoved into something right like that. You can see even in that lighting they disappear a little bit. Actually, that's a better effect on camera than I thought I was going to get, but you get the idea. If these were bright green or any of the other permutations of colors, then this would be far superior. Again, this is a personal preference side of things. That's what I would change about the kit. Other than that, this thing is absolutely a solid pickup. And as I mentioned previously, there is a discount code listed below for both places that is available. I'm telling you that as the rush across the internet goes into full swing, these types of items are going to evaporate. So if you don't have them, and it hasn't been on your mind to pick up some medical gear, then take advantage of that discount code that I mentioned previously in the video. Get yourself hooked up with some medical equipment, even if you don't know how to use it, so that it's there, so that at least you have a fighting chance for the person that is going to work on you to have the tools that they need. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning into the VSO Gun Channel. If you learned something in today's video, then sound off in the comments section down below. I stick around for a couple days after the video publishes to answer questions, and I'm very much looking forward to hearing from you, and hopefully we'll see you on another video here at the VSO Gun Channel.